feeling any sour grapes right now because we're all stuck in quarantine and there's no theater. But luckily, we've got Genny Yosco here to talk about her show that she does through her production company called Sour Grapes, and also she's in charge of Frigid. So tell us all about the great stuff you're going to make us feel better about.
That was a wonderful introduction, and I am so happy about that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so right now I'm curating I have curated a virtual Shakespeare festival. It was supposed to be live, but the quarantine and the pandemic changed those plans. But we're still going strong with it, which is going to be great. It is the So Many Shakespeares Festival. We premiered last year with a Midsummer Night's Dream theme. This year, everyone has to do a Hamlet theme. So whatever Hamlet means to them, they have to do a show about it. My show in the festival is called I'm Your Hamlet. The title is actually a little bit of a pun that I will talk about later, but right now the show is basically poking fun quite a bit at people trying to do Zoom theater shows because they're always chaos, they're always hectic. And on top of that, all of the large personalities that you will sometimes meet in the theater world, not so loosely based on some of the people that I have met in my 10-year directing career.
They are getting better. The Zoom clothes are improving as we go along here.
Yes, I'm very happy about that. Actually, a lot of my quarantine has been spent Zoom managing and screen managing a lot of shows. So the first 3 months of quarantine, I've been able to see what works and what doesn't, and also get paid to be there and do all of that fun stuff. So when writing this show, I was able to make that work. I was actually supposed to have a completely different show when we were planning this festival in January. It was supposed to be a live concept show about the very first community theater production of Hamlet after Shakespeare did it at the Globe. So it was going to be all historical accurate costumes, and it was going to be an all-female cast playing an all-male acting company. It was going to be a whole thing, and then I couldn't adapt it to Zoom because it was just really hard to do. And I had this terrible food poisoning for a good 48 hours. So I sat there and I just wrote this entirely new show because I had nothing else to do other than just sit there and feel miserable. So then I wrote this show, and I wrote it for a bunch of the actors that I use in all of my monthly shows and my regular company members. Thankfully, everybody said yes. We filmed it in 8 hours, and I am up till 5 in the morning editing certain pieces of it as it goes. But yeah, it's a fun time.
So are you doing the same gender switching that you always do in your shows? It's always so much fun and always works. You do it so intelligently.
Thank you so much. We do have a bit of a nod to that in one of our characters. Actually, my mother is playing a man named Wyatt. So we do have a nod to that in there. But since this show is basically Hamlet is the show within the show, there isn't as much gender swapping as there would have been in the live concept show that I originally had planned. I will do that show eventually someday when I am allowed in a theater again and everyone wears their masks and the quarantine dies down and stuff.
So what are you doing with Frigid now?
Yes. So that's a very, very fun time. This festival is through Frigid New York, which is wonderful. We just finished our Queerly Festival, which was all LGBTQ plays and pieces and monologues and shows and all of that stuff. Every Friday, or almost every Friday, we have our Frigid Fridays, which is basically a virtual cabaret of our performers that we like to showcase and feature, and hosted by Lucy Pohl, so that's really fun. And also every Friday we have the Reparations Show, which is a virtual show that pays all of the Black performers and does not pay any of the white performers because it is reparations.
I saw one of them because it had my friend Michael Lynch in it.
Yay! Yeah, it's such a fun show.
Very good, yeah.
It's very good, yeah. So I'm really happy.
Wonderful people like Michael Lynch.
Which theater are you sitting at right now? Is it Crane Theater?
It's a virtual background. Yeah, it's at the Crane Theater.
Okay. It's Crane Theater. Oh, good. I recognize it. Yeah. Okay.
One of the things we're actually working on at the theater is being able to have performers on the stage and then stream out to an audience. So audience doesn't have to come inside, but we can still have actors on the stage instead of in a Zoom meeting type of setting. Lots of plexiglass, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Where would the plexiglass be?
So there's several options that we're working on. There's plexiglass to separate the performers backstage. So that way, if it is a cabaret type of show, they will all be distanced and separated out. There is an option that we're working on having like 6 boxes on stage of plexiglass, so the performers can all like see each other and interact, but they cannot breathe on each other. So there's that as well that we're working on.
But how did you rehearse?
So for the rehearsals for this show that I am premiering on the 17th, yes, July 17th. So we actually just rehearsed it all on Zoom, and
On Zoom?
yeah,
Ah.
yeah, rehearsals on Zoom, which is always troublesome, especially with Shakespeare. Shakespeare on a lag is so hard. So.
Oh, you get that 20-second delay thing.
And then like somebody's screen will freeze, so then you have to start over because you're recording it, and they're just like the entire time, and you have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, but
and then you have,
some
like,
actors don't have
my
access
lips
to
are honestly
computers.
what I'm saying. That's
Right.
How, you know, this happens every time. I can never figure out how to get my lips in sync. And also there's a whole backwards thing. Like I have to look this way to be looking that way, which is very confusing.
The mirroring thing or like the not mirroring thing, it's different for me every time, and it always freaks me out.
And some people seem so nicely lit, and some people seem very dark. I don't know. Do they use extra lights?
Yes, I have 2 big lights right now staring right at me. Makes me very sweaty, but it lights me up very prettily, so that's fine.
Okay. Where do you attach them? The light.
So they are actually both plugs, so they just plug into my wall, and I can move them anywhere. So that way, if I'm filming like a short that's somewhere else, as long as I have something to plug it into, I'm good.
Yeah, but tell me one more thing. The theater. You think theaters are going to open this September?
The 4th Street theaters are actually looking into creating an outdoor space. So like La Mama, New York Theater Workshop, Crane Theater, they're all banding together to try to create an outdoor space, so that way people can come see it and not have to worry about the indoor ventilation or being like packed in on each other. And we're actually talking to the city about that as like a whole group. So that should be very helpful.
Also, I was thinking, you were talking about plexiglass. Could you have like in the front row a giant plexiglass to keep the audience away from the actors, and maybe each row have a plexiglass divider? Could would that be possible?
Plexiglass is cheap.
It's not cheap, yeah, but we're buying a lot of it anyway. So that's
for it. You know, this would be like, you know, helping out employers sort of situation.
Right.
So you'd get government grants to do this with.
That would be really interesting. I'll definitely look into that. We are definitely putting a big plexiglass in front of the stage for when audience comes in. Right now, all of the seats are out of the theater because it was time for us to refurbish our seats anyway. They've been the same seats since 1997. We're working on new seats for the theater. So eventually down the line, when things start to slowly open back up, the audience is basically going to be getting like their own seats that they can place in like 6 feet apart areas. It's going to be very limited house sizes, but I do like the concept of, I think actually in Under St. Mark's, we were going to probably plexiglass off some sections. So doing that in the Crane probably wouldn't be a terrible idea either. Thank you so much, Eva. That was really nice.
Yeah, that would work with smaller theaters, you know, because you have a smaller space, so you don't have to, you know, it might be anyway.
That's what they felt, you know, because it's
psychological, yeah.
But Genny, you forgot to tell us the dates and where to find I'm Your Hamlet and the other offers.
Yes!
Showing. We get distracted on this show.
It's totally fine. So yeah, the entire festival can be found at frigid.nyc/tags/so many Shakespeares. My show specifically can be found at frigid.nyc/events/I'm-your-hamlet. But you can also find it from just the general festival page. Also, I think it's on the front page of frigid.nyc anyway, if that's just easier for everybody to find. The dates are July 17th at 7 p.m., July 19th at 7 p.m., July 25th at 7 p.m., July 29th at 2 p.m., and August 1st at 2 p.m.
Thank you very much, Genny. I'm looking forward to this. Yay, I'm getting my Genny fix.
Yay! Oh my God, it's so funny. Every single time I see Emily copy you on an email, I'm like, I need Eva to come see one of my shows. I don't have any shows right now. So yeah, I have one.
Well, good luck and thank you, and stay safe out there.
Yes, thank you so much.
Good to see you, Genny.
nice to meet you.
Thank you guys so much. Now that my mouse is finally working, I will leave for real. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Got
Stay
a
safe.
chance to- William Cataldi got a chance to see Doubt. So he's going to tell us about this production, a Zoom production of Doubt. So take it away, William.
Thank you, Eva. John Patrick Shanley's Doubt, a Parable explores suspicion in the absence of proof, which results in a state of eternal doubt. Sister Aloysius runs a Catholic elementary school in 1964 during a dark period, during which we now know some priests were sexually molesting children. Today's audience is aware of the problem, but in 1964 there was no such awareness. During conversations with Sister James, a teacher, Sister Aloysius develops a nagging suspicion that Father Flynn, a priest at the school, may have an improper relationship with Donald Muller, a prepubescent male student and the school's only black ward. Sister Aloysius interviews Ms. Muller, Donald's mother, who obviously fears that Donald will be punished because of his race if she allows the sister to rock the boat. Ultimately, Sister Aloysius confronts Father Flynn, who denies the allegation, but when she tells him she inquired about him at his previous post, Father Flynn allows himself to be transferred out of her school. In the absence of a confession, Sister Aloysius, Sister James, and any reasonable audience member are left with a nauseating doubt as to whether Flynn is a monster or a loving pastor. Mr. Shanley's play is a masterpiece. If it's performed intelligently, it is impossible to decide what actually transpired between Donald Muller and Father Flynn. Father Flynn can't look guilty, and Sister Aloysius can't be seen as insincere or having ulterior motives. Sister James can't be imbecilic, and Ms. Muller can't be so attached to her son's opportunities that she doesn't care about possible sexual abuse. In the interest of time, I'll only discuss the two principal players, but Isha Sumner as Mrs. Muller and Rihanna Salazar as Sister James gave outstanding performances. Personally, I think Alex Comito, who played Father Flynn, was better than Philip Seymour Hoffman in the 2008 film. His was one of the top performances I've seen since I've been reviewing theater. If Mr. Comito is not a Catholic, I'm not sure how he could have rendered a loving, sincere priest so effortlessly. But when Aloysius outmaneuvered him, he caved. Was that a tacit admission of guilt? Was his earnest, loving nature concealing sinister events? It was impossible to tell. Because of that, this fine young actor deserves an award. Vivian Cardone's portrayal of Sister Aloysius was perfect. Again, if she's not Catholic, I don't know how she was able to render the suspicious nun to such great effect. Her depiction was strident, but always fair. There wasn't an inkling of vulnerability in her performance until the end when she confesses tortured doubt. Again, one of the best performances I've seen since I've been working with high drama. I'd love to see this cast on stage. The play is magical, and these performances were otherworldly. I can't think of anything that might have detracted from this, not one dropped line, not one missed opportunity. I just have one piece of important advice for the folks involved with this reading. It's a bad idea for artists to create perfect art. They run the risk of making God jealous. Happy Face Plus.
Thank you, William. Oh my gosh, I'm glad they're doing Doubt again. John Patrick Shanley. It's such a good play. It's so meaty. I love it. So, it sounds great. Yay! So you can still see that going on till it will have the information on the Facebook page. And now to talk about something beyond tragic. Nick Cordero finally succumbed after fighting so valiantly, and we were all praying and rooting. I mean, the entire country was behind this guy. And I was very lucky in order that I caught up with him at the Drama League Award 2014 for Bullets Over Broadway.
Ready? Here we are with
Nick Cordero.
Congrats on the Theater World Award.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a first. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Also, I loved you in Evil Dead, and now you're in Bullets Over Broadway. You always...
I wasn't in Evil Dead. I think you're thinking of Toxic Avenger.
That's it.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up. I didn't...
Don't get your B-movie musicals mixed up. I don't blame you.
Doesn't matter.
Same theater, though, at New World Stages.
Well, you're always playing these interesting characters, aren't you?
I am, yeah. You know, I'm a tall guy, so, you know, it doesn't always work out for me because of that, but The ones that do. You know, if you need a big green monster, I'm your guy.
I love the fact that you're a hitman who has the ability to write.
That's right. Yeah, you know, Cheech is he comes from a place I think where he survives on his instincts. You know, if you don't listen to your instincts, then it's your death potentially. So, you know, I think it's just life. You know what I mean? He lives a dramatic life. It's a raw life, and you know, what rings true really rings true, and anything else is just fluff.
I love the music. When you sing Up the Lazy River when you bump people off, it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's a juxtaposition between being a cool kind of laid-back song and a very uncool, unlaid-back action he's about to take.
Then you can see him performing in A Bronx Tale from Stars in the Alley on 2017.
Here are Nick Cordero, Nathan Sporek, and the cast of A Bronx Tale. Give me a second, just 1 second. Snake Eyes! Can't get a break. Can't hit another today for my life. Close roll. I want you to throw my dice for me.
I know how to do this, Sonny.
Do it, stand over here. The kid's gonna throw my dice. Anybody got a problem with that? No, I didn't think so. Let me show you how to throw them dice. First, you gotta make them treat you nice. Here's a little bit of free advice. Listen to Sonny, we'll make some money. And quietly shake their bones. Close the doors and disconnect the phones. Doesn't want to get these losers thrown. So stop them and ready to get set. Roll on. Yeah. You don't have to jump. Roll on. Use that nothing amazing on. Roll on. Go, let's bet the fall. Down the line. The sun is smiling. Good. Say a word, I'm gonna flip my head. Shut your trap, okay? He's the trapper. Money time to shake that fist. Almost right on your magic wrist. Try to finish with a little twist. Bamboo, what's just throw the dice. What's the point?
No, I'm sorry, Sonny.
The fall's okay, kid. Don't panic.
I did throw 7.
Fall's okay, kid. Take it easy. Kid's panicking. You didn't throw a 7. No, you just have to throw another 4. I say the kid makes a hard 4. 2 put a hard 4. I say we put all the money down.
Don't worry, Sonny. I can throw another 7.
No.
Let's go.
Let's get scared of the crap out of me. Take 7 down on the 94. 2, you can do it. Come here. Right. Throw a 7 with this close to heaven. We'll be here. The money, the less you crap out. Box down, stick down in the dollar. Take guys and kids and honey. Look at it down. Now roll on. Yeah. Roll on. I got it.
was a colleague of ours, and he was the president of the Drama Desk. And when the Drama Desk was a wonderful organization,
He was wonderful.
before they turned on me and became this evil, disgusting, vile, I will hate them to the day I die. But William Wolfe was my champion. He stood up to those awful people that eventually got me out and were mean and horrible and said dreadful, slanderous, libelous things to me. And he stood by me. He always stood by me. Him and his wife were just two of the nicest people. We would see them at the theater all the time. And
he was great.
And it was
He
just
was great.
oh, it was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, I always loved him. He and his wife, and many times we sat on like very close to each other, or like one seat ahead or behind, you know. And he was always so wonderful, you know. He always wanted to go to an Indian restaurant. He loved Indian food. It never happened, but very respectful gentleman. I always enjoyed meeting him, you know, in the theater. Yeah.
And Mark, you even knew him before even we knew him from theater.
Yeah, from recent years, seeing him in the theater, I always thought he and his wife were incredibly gracious and, you know, like super friendly and just made you feel very welcome. But when I was a kid, one of the first things I ever read about films, you know, because there wasn't that much in my area, you know, intellectual interest, but he would review films for Q magazine, which was like, an early version, for people who don't know it, of kind of Time Out New York. It would sort of tell people what was going on in movies, theater, you know, restaurants, cabarets. And I really enjoyed reading his writing. And I didn't always agree with him, because even as a kid, I was very argumentative. But I think it was in 6th grade, I had to write a report about a film. So I did about Antonioni's Blow Up. And I felt like this was the best film I'd ever seen. And he was criticizing it for being a bit pretentious, which now I would agree with. But at the time, I thought it was just so cool and so, you know, modern and so, you know, like kind of in your face. It was like the perfect thing for a budding teenager to fall in love with. And he wrote back a very gracious thing about why he expressed his opinion. He wanted to encourage me to, you know, see more movies and express mine. We didn't keep up the correspondence, but I felt like maybe I could have, because he was, again, the most welcoming, the most kind of like wanting to wish everybody well, mentor everybody, and give everyone a chance. And he was always so full of energy that it was a total shock to me, even though I knew he was old, but he never seemed old.
I know.
So it really, you know, it blew me back completely. It really, I just couldn't believe it.
You know, there was a time I used to review films. I mean, there was a magazine called Cover Arts in the East Village, and I used to write for it, like just for no money and all that. And somehow I applied for a press pass for Lincoln Center Film Festival, and I got in. And then I got in for many, many years. And Wolf was one of the persons over there. And they used to give us, the press people, the breakfast in the morning, the best breakfast ever. So we always arrived like from 10 to like 10:30 is the breakfast, and the films will start. And greatest croissant, and we all gathered around that big table with fruit and everything and chatted. And then in the intermission, like after first film, there was a break lunch. They didn't give us lunch, but some of us will take another extra croissant with us for our lunch, or an apple, you know. And he was also like sometimes take an apple or something. And then it was just such a wonderful time. And then afterwards, my pass went away and I didn't go. And every time he ran into me and he says, "I miss you at the Lincoln Center Film Festival. What happened?" I said, "That magazine finished and I just lost my credentials, you know." I really, really look forward to see him, and few other people also. And I rushed from Avenue B to Lincoln Center, can you imagine, and made it for breakfast.
And now there's a lot of virtual theater going on, which we will, you know, show you on Facebook, and always go to YouTube, because we put the show and all this information on YouTube. But Andrea Alton is doing a show. Bernadette Peters just did a concert from 2009. Scott Siegel is continuing to show the Great American Songbook and doing his Broadway 5 years at Town Hall. He's up to 6 episodes already. And every Friday, 5 o'clock, Virtual Halsted will crack you up. It's such a tonic. And like we were talking about before, National Theater Live, they do something from Thursday at 7 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I saw Small Island and The Madness of George III and Lorraine Hansberry's Les Blancs. Right now they're doing the Terrence Rattigan's The Deep Blue Sea, and now you can see Amadeus. And there's other things going on, like the Museum of Living Jewish Heritage. They did this incredibly interesting Danish rescue story. And you have things from California, so you have to pay attention to the time, like Pacific, time. Luminary matchups with Millicent Martin and Terry Ralston. The Atlantic Theater Company did this Writers Reflect on Key Nguyen and Lloyd Saw. Lamb's Theater had Michael Colby talking about his book. And coming up, you've got No Peeking presents a series of theatrical written works. Residential acting companies doing something called Theater in Quarantine. Great performances on PBS will be doing Broadway at Home, The New Group, Lake Tahoe Dance Collective, and Ice Factory. Mark, Bina, we love our Ice Factory. They're doing an Ice Factory goes digital from July 23rd to August 15th. And now you can see the Irish rep and how they got that way until July 19th.
Also want to mention the Metropolitan Opera, because the Metropolitan Opera has been doing some marvelous things. They recently broadcast The Nose by Shostakovich, and it was absolutely hysterical. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, particularly for an opera. So mentioning them, and the symphony. The other night I saw the Carousel from the New York Philharmonic with Kelly O'Hara and Nathan Gunn, and it was just simply made me weep. It reminded me of the theater I fell in love with in the first place, and I was wondering, where did all these beautiful melodies go, and all of this stuff? Because these days everything seems so dire, and you really need to stop that occasionally. And it was a beautiful performance.
And also ballet. There's a lot of ballet, tribute to Balanchine, National Dance Institute, and there's a lot going on. Like you say, not just theater, but all